Hello, welcome to Bloomin Jacks. I'm Jack. Today we're going to make a beautiful autumnal urn arrangement using this silver urn and these burgundy and pink flowers here. And I've got some lovely foliage. Here at Bloomin Jacks we don't actually tend to use a lot of foam in our work. We're just trying to use more foliage, add more foliage into it, give it a bit more texture, etc. rather than using the foam, only because the foam doesn't break down in the ground. It's not good for the environment, so we try and do our little bit being sustainable and eco-friendly. So all the cellophane and paper that we use in the shop and our bags are all biodegradable. So trying to do a little bit for the environment. Anyway, so we're going to take this Eucalyptus robustus, again this beautiful smelling, strong smell of a eucalyptus, and use this as a base. We're going to cut the stems again down, so making sure it's got fresh stems so it can take as much water as possible. I'm just going to use that as our base in our urn, simply as that. So it's quite loose in there, and just use a bit of texture. We're going to have these beautiful hydrangeas. We're going to do a little grouping of 3. So let's have a little look. I think we just cut these again down, nice angle. Sometimes you can use a knife and just do a second score up the stem, just again so they're taking quite a lot of water. We want that quite low in there. And then we're going to add a second one with a bit of height. And then adding our third one on a slight angle again. So a little grouping like that. Got some leatherleaf here. It's really fine fern foliage. Again, fresh cut at the bottom. I'm just going to add this around and from the sides of our arrangement, like that, tacking it through. So just giving lots of different angles and shapes to the vase. Trying to lose the hard sides of the urn with all this foliage. I like that. We've got some lovely pink lilies here. They're secret lilies. I mean, they're actually sort of coming back on trend now. A lot of people just associate them with funeral work. I particularly love lilies. I think they're classy, they're really elegant, they give a great smell. You've got to be careful if you've got cats, because the cats don't agree with the pollen. But if you haven't, I think use them, they're fantastic. So just adding some lilies in. They open up so well. I mean, they can last up to sort of 3 weeks really. Especially if you keep changing the water. So 3 stems of lily into there. This great trailing foliage, soft ruscus, and there's quite a few varieties, but this soft ruscus is fantastic. You can manipulate it. We make hearts for weddings in this eucalyptus. You can see how easy it is to bend. It's quite expensive. We just literally have cut that one stem into 2. Use the bottom part we can still use and still have a nice trail. So with this design, we're going to have this sort of sloping down and adding a bit more height onto this side. So we can use the 2 different styles of cuts of foliage on both sides. So we have another second piece. Again, just stripping the bit of the bottom so there's no foliage leaves sitting in the water. This soft ruscus is great. It comes with these beautiful berries on it sometimes when they're in season, and it's quite nice for Halloween. So again, using this nice little trail and just pushing these through. I'm just going to use a third piece as well. So again, cutting at the base, strip a bit of that leaf. Can go in, tuck into our arrangement on that side. Use this last piece. I'm going to keep this quite high. Strip it again down. Nice fresh cut. That's going to give us an accent on that height on that side. So we've got a few more flowers here on the bench. So we have some nice avalanche white roses, snapdragons, again some this beautiful pink lisianthus, some pussy willow, some hypericum berries which are lovely. Maybe so if you're looking at November, December time, you could add some ilex berries. You can make this quite Christmassy. But with these colours, obviously, with this arrangement, you can change the colour. So if it's quite a nice wedding arrangement, if you were to make it into white or to pink. And here we've got some amaryllis. It's quite important to take these outside petals off, just so it makes them last longer. Obviously they're a bulb plant, so actually they respond really well if you were to feed them with bulb plant food. So, fresh cut. Again, with these, sometimes because they are like a tubular bulb, you can just add a stick onto them and tie them if they get a little bit too light. Add them in. Now I'm going to add some hypericum. I'm just going to mix them in with the hydrangeas on that side, keeping quite a bit of the foliage on the tops of them, just adding to that nice autumnal sort of colours. Again, different heights. Try and keep this side a bit higher. With the urn, I think it's really important, just a slight sort of detail that I would notice, is I think urns look really rubbish if they're flat on. A bit more texture just by putting it on a curve, so the front point is always facing forwards. It looks so much nicer. Right, we're gonna have this pussy willow. Again, another really great bit of twig that you can manipulate and put it into all different shapes. I'm going to keep this quite straight, and it's going to go onto this one side. We add this lisianthus, nice sort of pink tone to it. So our snapdragons now, we're going to do a little cluster of perhaps 5 into the centre. So we're just going to shape them into a nice size so we can cut them at the right length. That's going to go in. Lots of different heights. You can see with all the flowers we're using, there's lots of different textures. Now I think we'll have our beautiful dahlias here. Dahlia is sort of known as the pinwheel, is the common name. Great garden flower. A lot of people have them at home. I just think they're fantastic. And I mean, for wedding work, event work, they're lovely. They always have this sort of small flower stem which looks nice in a little bud vase. So we're going to add them in all different heights, nice and loosely. This is not too contrived, it's trying to be quite a loose arrangement. Right, then come to this trailing amaranthus. So best season for this is July and October. A couple of common names for it. We use it in the shop and we call it dreadlocks. So that's what we keep in the shop quite a bit. So using some taller pieces, quite large flowers, we're going to just go onto this right-hand side of our arrangement and just tuck these in through here. You have to be careful with amaranthus, this trailing variety. When they're quite mature, and they do drop quite a lot of pollen, so just be careful where you put them. A bit like dahlias, they do pollute the water quite a bit, so you do need to change the water more often than you would normally do in another arrangement with other flowers. So just to sort of mirror the design, we're putting some onto this side. Right, let me just have a quick spin and see what that's looking like. Fantastic. I'm just going to add a couple of roses in, because we've got these, the amaryllis are all white in this, so we're just going to add a touch of white. You see, again, this is used, just literally building the flowers up constantly all the time. So no oasis is used, no wire at all, so it's all natural. I'm just going to finish off a couple more stems of lily in that centre. So there's a little bit of a gap there I can see. So I'll just tuck that one in. So just to finish this off, we've got these little succulents which we've just taken, and we've taken the actual plant, take it out of the pot, wrapped it in our cellophane, and just put a little bit of tape around it. So we've got these lovely little live plants that we're going to add into the arrangement. So you won't actually see the plastic once they get tucked in. Push them right in. So again, it's this real lovely autumnal colours. Just one more. And there you go. Here's our silver urn arrangement.